booktube. I am Jackie, and this is Jackie's Literary Corner, and I'm back from my little trips to visiting family. I actually got back a few days ago, but I had work to go to work the next 2 days, so I didn't want to film anything. Even though at least from coming back from this trip, I had a little bit more time than coming back from visiting my grandma. We had come back really late, so by the time I got home from that visit, it was late and I didn't want to do it, and I would be, we ate dinner and then we would, in a few hours, we can read for bed. So, and I was also tired, but this one, coming back from my sister's, I had a little more time, but I still was kind of like tired and just wanted to chill. So now I'm finally filming again. Although we'll be turning around and going to visit my grandma again later at the end of the month, so I'm gonna get in some videos before then, possibly. This might be the only one I'll film, I don't know. I might film other ones, but there are some, but at least I got the book that was my top priority to finish. So, I did read a little bit more during the visit to my grandma's, but during the visit to my sister's, I barely read. I mean, the most of my reading was done on the way there and on the way home. And then I tried to read a little bit while I was there, but like every time I was going to bed real late, and then there was really no quiet downtime, or there was really, or well, there were like a little bit moments here and there, like our last on the Saturday of the party, my sister wanted to take the boys to the pool, to the public pool, to get them kind of, get some of their energy, and also keep them out of the house while she prepared the party. And I opted not to go to that. And well, actually, it's my mom that did the last minute preparation. She volunteered while my sister got to take them, and I opted not to go to the pool that time because I already went on Friday. I went with them on Friday, and it was fun, and I do love spending time with them, but I just wanted to chill and do some stuff for myself, like get on the computer and do a little bit of reading before the party started, because of course I would have to put that away when the party started, so I wanted to, and yeah, so I had a little bit of time then. But I'm not surprised. It's just that I can't make a decision about what books I want to bring with me. So, I keep telling myself that when I got my sisters, I shouldn't risk bringing as many books as I do. Like with my grandma, going to my grandma's, I might have more of a chance to get some reading done because we don't do a lot when we're there, except for go out to eat with the family, or if it's a season where there's events going on, like family parties are going on, then yeah, we'll go to that. But mostly the only thing we do is we go out to eat. My aunts and uncles will sometimes come over and hang out for a couple hours, or we don't even do as much shopping as we used to do whenever we would go down there. We used to go shopping all the time. They would go to the outlet malls, and at the time, when I was a kid, I hated it. Now I'm fine with it. I mean, I still am a little resentful that the outlet mall that they all love going to does not have a bookstore. But there are some stores that I like. I kind of like American Eagle and, Old Navy and stuff. And then there's this cute little candy cookie place that was pretty good. That smelled pretty good. But yeah, I kind of, I like it a little bit better than I did as a kid. I still kind of, annoyed that there's no bookstore in that outlet mall. But anyway, so that's really, when we go there, is I have more downtime when I go there. Because, and then my cousins they work. So they all have jobs, and then they're in school if we go visiting during the school year. So yeah, I have more of a chance to read if I bring a lot of books than in my grandma's. But with my sister, we're always doing something, or we're doing something with the kids, Or like, it's like I'm visiting my nieces and my nephews and niece, so I'm like, oh, I want to spend time with them and play with them and stuff. Like, and now that they're like not babies anymore, they don't have nap times anymore, so there's no, and like by the time I get some free time, it's probably like, when they're going to bed, because of course they go earlier to bed than the adults do. So yeah, I really shouldn't bring as much, but again, I can never decide. I can't make a decision about what books to bring. Like I think about all the way up until the night before, and then oftentimes I end up changing my mind and bringing completely different books, or at least one different book. Okay, so let's talk about, most of my reading was this Mysteries of Dolfo. I was going to do a review, but I decided I opted not to. I thought this was okay. I liked it, and I was engaged in the story, and I did want to keep reading and find out what's going to happen to the characters. But one of the things that I didn't notice at first, I did notice it, but it wasn't as bothersome until I read a review, because I wanted to see what other people thought of the book, that pointed out the awkward sentences throughout this book, like, that were so, it was like you were saying them in one breath. It was like, her writing is not always that great, and but she does have beautiful landscape descriptions of the setting of Italy and France, and all the beautiful landscapes, and that are just, it really immerses you in the story. And there is a lot of poetry in this too, that can be like, it depends on how you feel about reading poetry in books. I don't mind it, but there were times when I was just like, I just wanted to finish the chapter, and I don't want to, focus on reading all this poetry. And the poetry was beautiful. Like, although one reviewer apparently didn't like it and didn't think it was all that good. But I think poetry is subjective on how you feel about it. And I didn't mind. I liked it, just there were times when I just didn't want to read it. I liked it. I thought Emily was a very sensible character, and I liked her mostly, but in the last part of the story, I kind of got annoyed with her. It was very frustrating with her. Like, there was a character, she found out some information about a character from someone that she had just met, and was all like, and he told her this bad thing about someone, and she automatically didn't even bother to ask that person to question it. She was just like, oh, now you're unworthy of me to be my friend. And it's like, you're not going to even give that person the benefit of the doubt. You're not going to even ask them. The book, of course, this book was originally published in the 1794, and it was set in the 1500s, so it's very dramatic. And some of the dialogue, like, I think if there was an adaptation, which I think I would like an adaptation of this. I think if one was done now, they would definitely have to change the dialogue, because some of the dialogue is just like, it's not natural, and it's like just almost silly to read, because it's just so dramatic, and they say words like, you are unworthy, and I just keep kind of think. And then there are parts when I kept picturing, when it came to Emily and how she talked, some of the things that she said, that kind of made me think of in Princess Diaries 2, the scene when, I can't remember what the grandma's name is. I can't think of her name at the moment, but when she's teaching Mia the arts of the fan, I kept picturing Emily being that person with, like, have a fan, whipping out her fan, and, being like, using that to communicate. Like, that's what I kept picturing during some of the scenes with Emily talking to characters. I did really like how Emily stood up to Count Montoni. I thought he was a pretty good villain. He was very intimidating and frightening. Like, he was unpredictable. You didn't know if he was going to snap or not, and I didn't know when he was going to do to Emily or her aunt. I did not like the aunt. The aunt pissed me off, especially so Emily, at the start of the book, her father ends up dying all on the road, and she's forced to live with her, for the sake of argument, her boyfriend takes her to stay with her aunt, because she's the only family that she has. And right away, her and the aunt just don't connect. And the aunt is just like mad because Emily's still grieving the loss of her father because he just died like probably a week ago or a few weeks ago. And so there's people who grieve for years. I mean, in that society, you were expected to wear black if you were in grief. You were grieving. It was like respectful, and it showed you were mourning. Like a lot of widows had to wear black, and it's just like her aunt's mad at her that she's still grieving, that she's not looking pretty for men, and she's still all sad and depressed and doesn't want to socialize with her aunt's friends and everything. And it's like, the girl just lost her dad, and you expect her to be all look pretty and present herself to your friends and to men and stuff. You expect her to do that when she just lost her father, who she was close with. And it's just, I want to smack the aunt. Like, most of the book I hated the aunt, but I kind of felt sorry for her towards the end. And so I'm gonna say about that. And out of all, because Emily like had 3 suitors, like one that shows up later, but she has the guy that her uncle was gonna set her up with, and then Valancourt, and then this other guy that shows up later. And Valancourt was the best out of all of them, and even then there were times when Valancourt kind of annoyed me. And also, but I do like, there's one scene, so I really like the two main servants, Annette and Teresa. Like, Teresa there were times when she was saying things that I was thinking, that was really funny. It was like, yes, thank you for saying that. That is and then meanwhile, Annette is the type of, I also could relate to Annette. That was because there were some funny moments when she would be telling. First of all, she was always jumping to the supernatural. Like, of course, this is a gothic novel, so there's a lot of creepy atmosphere. There's possibility of potential for supernatural. There's a lot of horrifying elements, like dead bodies, and there's violence and everything. So it's a very atmospheric story. Well, there are moments where where Annette, who is Emily's only friend, her and Emily hear all these noises or, see strange things, and Annette, of course, always assumes, oh, it's supernatural, there's a ghost, oh my god, they're gonna come kill us, and she's even more dramatic than Emily is. And there's, like, she will be telling Emily a story about what she witnessed, because Emily, will ask her, and she will go off on these tangents, and Emily would be just thinking, oh my god, get to the main point. Like, come on, just get to what you're trying to tell me. Stop describing these things that have nothing to do with the main point. And it just, first of all, it reminds me of myself. I have a bad habit of doing that, especially when I was younger, and my parents have to be like, what does that have to do with anything? Or, okay, get to the point, come on. I tried to, over the years as an adult, I think I've gotten better, or at least I've tried to get better. Although these videos probably demonstrate how I'm still bad at it, because I know I will go off on tangents on these videos. And it's just so fun because it reminds me, it's just like me. I do the same thing. And Emily's reaction is hilarious. She's just so impatient with her, and it's like she's like, just get to the point, Annette. So I love those moments. What else do I love? Now, like I said, there's awkward sentences, the characters are very dramatic, and the last part of the book felt just really random and just like we were in a completely different story all of a sudden with the last part. And it was like, that is when I kind of got most exhausted reading, because I was like, okay, they escaped the castle, we haven't seen a Montoni in a while, what is the relevance of these guys? But then they do kind of become relevant, because there's a connection between them and her family, the castle she ends up finding, the place she goes to when she escapes Udolpho. And so yeah, it kind of towards the last part, it was just like, okay, I'm done, when is this gonna end? And now another is that I was kind of frustrated with how Montoni, how his arc ended. I was not happy with it. But not, so this was really good. I enjoyed it mostly. I'm probably not going to read it again. I don't know if I'll check out her other book. Let me see if it says on here. I don't see it. Like Children of the Forest or something. Oh, there is the Italian. So I don't know if I'll read any for other books. I might. Sicilian Romance. So she has a lot. So The Romance of the Forest. That's the one I've heard about recently. I might check out her other books. I don't know, because like I said, this just wasn't, like, I was engaged in the story, but it was just almost too much. I was just exhausted by the end of it, and I was relieved when I finally finished it today. But there were other books, there were other books that I wanted to read that I was more interested in, and then, I wanted to get a few more books in before July was over, and I feel like I'm behind, and, I only have like a week or two left. So, but anyway, so that is Mysteries of Udolpho, and I'll have to put on this video that it's minor, that there's partial spoilers, when I upload this video. I wish I could do, like, timestamps, but I don't know how to do that, and someone will have to show me. But anyway, so I'm probably gonna donate this, but I'm glad I read it. I enjoyed the ride, and I didn't hate the book, I just didn't absolutely love it. Okay, so the only other book that where I read a little bit while I was at my sister's was, let's see. I don't want to knock anything down. I read the first chapter in this, which is The Age of Napoleon. And which basically just talks about his relationship with his mother, his education, his relationship with his brothers, and that's about it. I've only read the first chapter. Because that was like, I was like, oh, let me just use this opportunity to get some reading done, and I wanted to pick a book, which I probably should have picked Mysteries of Udolpho, so I could have got it done sooner. But, I picked this one and read the first chapter. So the next chapter is called Rise to Power, so I guess it's how he became emperor, Napoleon. But yeah, it was one of these things where, I bought it, and it was because I just was inspired to pick it up. It sounded intriguing. I would love to read, there's a book that Jennifer Brooks, I think she read, that was a biography of Napoleon, or maybe she didn't read that one, I don't know. But I remember either a year or two ago, Jennifer Brooks did, that was the year where she ended up reading a lot of books that Napoleon liked, which I think that's an interesting idea. Like, the problem is, for me, is that I would have to buy all of the books that an author, a historical figure, or an actor read, and if I don't have all their books, I'm trying not to do that, because not everything's going to be at my library. I have a small library, so I can't always get stuff at the library, so it's hard for me to do that kind of thing. I mean, it's a cool idea, though. It's a good way for you to try new types of books. But, yeah, so I read the first chapter of this, and I tried to read, I did attempt to read that last 30 minutes in the car. I did attempt to read, The Burning God by, R.F. Kuang. It's the last book in the, Poppy War trilogy, but I didn't read much. Like, I read the prologue, and then I started reading the first chapter, but that's about it, because, like I said, it was literally only, actually even less than 30, probably 5 minutes away, so I didn't get to that one, but I do want to start reading that one, even if then going into August, I at least want to start it, because I did that video on books I think would be great for summer, and I've only read like maybe one or two from there, because I'm not normally a seasonal reader. I just thought, like I said in that video, I just thought the idea is fun to come up with books that you think would be great for the season. Even if, like, I don't. So I hope that doesn't mean you guys don't trust my judgment about that. Although I got some comments, because I've gotten into the habit of commenting on videos, even if I don't have a lot to say. Even if I just say, "Oh, I like this video," or "Great haul," I feel like that's a way to get people to, get to know, get more involved in the booktube communities if I make sure I'm a comment on every video I watch. I mean, now there's some videos that I don't know what to say, and that is usually my excuse, but I'm slowly getting better at it. And so I've been commenting more, and people have commented, and there were some people that commented on my videos, like Scallydagging along, I can't say her channel name. Roz is her name. She did comment on my video about books I recommend for the summer, and we got a little bit of conversed a little bit. You guys know I put Count of Monte Cristo on there, and she said she didn't agree with Count of Monte Cristo. So I replied. So I have gotten comments, and she did agree with, but she did agree with another video, but another book I have in there is a summer read. So that got me really excited to converse, and she responded, and then I responded back, and we had a little bit of a conversation, but yeah, she did respond to that video. So, and but I've only read, I did start the Count of Monte Cristo, but I haven't picked it up. That was actually one of the books I brought with me when we went to see my grandma. But anyway, so I haven't really read any of those, but again, I normally am not a seasonal reader. I just thought it was a fun video idea to think about books that you think would be good for the summer, because it's not like I wouldn't read them during the summer. It's just normally, it's what I'm inspired to read, what I'm motivated to read in the moment. So let's go ahead and show you what I got. So, like I said, this was one of the books I bought at Black Castle when I took books to be there to be donated, and I ended up buying 3 books. So this one, Age of Napoleon. It says, more than a biography, one of history's most remarkable men. This book tells the fascinating story of the Napoleonic world in all its aspects: political, cultural, military, economic, and social. This critical epoch shaped our modern age in thousands of ways, from the map of Europe to the metric system, from styles of dress and dictators to a new conventions of personal behavior. So this is sort of a biography, but it kind of focuses particularly on a certain time in Napoleon's life when he was trying to become emperor of most of Europe, if not all of it. I think he tried to be emperor of all of Europe. And I've heard that he was one of the best generals, and the greatest general, and I don't know if we've heard anything else. If people will say, I don't know if I've heard anything else, but anyway, so I got that one, and then on that day, I also got, which, let me go ahead and look at the receipt. Oh, $11.60, not $11.20. Okay. Yeah, so I was trying to look and see how much, because I might not be able to buy anything when I go visit my grandma again. If I'm trying to stick to budget, I might be able to, but hopefully we won't be going to any place where I would want to get books. Then we have, this is a translated classic. A translated nonfiction. Brigitte Hamann. I'm guessing she's from Austria. The Reluctant Empress, which is about the Austrian Empress Elizabeth. So she was the romantic idol of her age, the extraordinarily beautiful and mysterious Empress Elizabeth of Austria, whose exploits made her legend in 19th century and beyond. This this biography by Brigitte Hamann reveals the truth of a complex and touching curiously modern personality. Her refusals to conform, escape into life of her own, fulfilled with literature, ideas, and the new political passions of age. And I already like this girl. And Fresh Parchment, I don't remember her name, but her actual name. But the channel Fresh Parchment had bought. I remember in one of her book hauls, I saw that she bought a historical fiction based on the life of this woman and I think it's her brother, and so I thought that was kind of cool that she bought that, and then around the same time I was buying this book, which yeah, it does have pictures. I like when these books have pictures. But yeah, I've never even heard of this woman. The only woman from Austria, historical figure here from Austria, is of course, what's her name? That Let Them Eat Cake woman. What is her name? Marie Antoinette. She was Austrian, but she came to France and became queen of and she was married to I think Louis the 14th. I think it was either the 14th or the 16th. I always get those two mixed up. But so I don't know about this woman. I don't even know I wonder if she's even connected to. Well, I will find it. I will read this book soon. And then the last book I got that day was this one, Truth Universally Acknowledged, on Why We Read Jane Austen. 33 great writers on why we read Jane Austen. So of course it's Jane Austen July. So I saw this. There were two Jane Austen. There was one. I don't remember what the other one was. I think it was another biography type or about Jane Austen type of book, and maybe I should have bought that one, but I think this is good too. And I want to see if I can cut off the plastic of this, because I don't like the plastic on these books. Like, if I can cut it off, I will safely without ruining the book, because I did, I think when I cut off the plastic on the Eyes of the Dragon, because it was by Stephen King, I think my dad bought it from a library sale or something, and I did cut the plastic off of it, but it was a bit hard, and I think I almost cut the dust jacket, but anyway, wow, this one obviously is talking about why we read Jane Austen, why we love Jane Austen, and I mean, I don't know who's in this one, but yeah, I thought, who is this? And there's a Susanna Clark, Eudora Welty, Rebecca Mead, E.M. Forrester, Brian Southam, Susanna Carson, Ian Watt, Lionel Trilling, W. Somerset Monham, Martin Amis, Benjamin Nugget, J.B. Priestley, Anna Quinlan, Lewis Carroll, Lewis Auchincloss, Kingsley Amis, A.S. Byatt, and Ignace Sodre, Aylin Bottom, Faye Wellen, James Collins, Janet Todd, John Wilshire, Amy Heckerling, David Lodge, Lionel Tillering, Eva Brand, Donald Green, Amy Bloom, Harold Bloom. I wonder if she's connected to the critic Harold Bloom. Diane Johnson, Margaret Livesey, Virginia Woolf, and Jay McErney. So there's a couple of authors that I know in here. The most modern being Susanna Clark. So yeah, there's a lot of older authors in here that are talking about this. I'm talking about why we read Jane Austen, but there's only like I said, the most modern is Susanna Clark. Which makes sense because her book, Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, I think there's a little bit of Austen influence in there. I used to think Dickensian, but I can't remember if it was Katie from Books and Things who mentioned that it's very Regency period inspired, or like the setting is the Regency period. Yeah, so these are the 3 books I got at the Black Castle Books. Yeah, so as you can see, it's a bit of a non-fiction collection. I was going to, the problem going there and is that the fantasy selection, it's good, but it's just a lot of mass markets, and then there's some older fantasy, but a lot of them are hardback. Or there's like fantasy that I'm just not interested in. I almost got a Tad Williams book, but it was a hardback. And I'm trying not to get too many hardbacks, at least not the big ones. Like, obviously, this is a hardback, but it's small. Like, I don't mind necessarily the smaller ones. Like, Miss March is a good size for a hardback. But, like, my Stephen Kings that I have that are hardback, Sleeping Beauties, Desperation, I can't think of what else do I have in hardback. But those are big books. Those are chunksters. So they're kind of heavy. So that's why I've been tempted to buy paperback copies of those books, but I don't know yet. And part of me is like, well, maybe I should just read them first and deal with the fact that they're hardback, and then if I'm not liking them, I can always switch them out. But that doesn't always happen. So eventually, when I pick it up and start reading it, I eventually decide, because that's exactly what happened with Priory of the Orange Tree. Like, I had decided I'm going to get I'm going to switch it to a paperback. And I've debated about that with, Fire and Blood by George R. R. Martin as well. Which I need to read that soon. To read that before, I can't remember when the first season came. I don't remember when during the year, but I want to start reading that before season 2 starts of House of the Dragon. So I need to pick that up soon. So that's what so what I got before I left, I don't know if I showed this to you guys, I can't remember, but, I got The House of Lincoln. I think I might have already showed this to you guys, but I got The House of Lincoln by Nancy Horan, and this is apparently her book Loving Frank is a bestseller, was a bestseller, and it's, of course, New York, it has this New York Times bestseller sticker, which I obviously did try to take off. This is about a servant living in the Lincoln house, as in Abraham Lincoln. Let me see where she's from, because I know she's, I hate it when I do this, see, I accidentally did that, I did not mean to do that. Let me see, what would happen if nope, there's nothing on there. Let's see, she is from, she is 13-year-old, let's see, where is she? She from Africa? Is she a black girl? No, I can't remember where she's from. I can't find it. She might, but she might be black. Wait, no, that's her friend is. Let me see. Is it Anna Ferreira? Okay, so she might be from a different part of the world. I know I can't remember where she's, it doesn't say where she's from. I don't think she's American originally. But it's about her time as a servant in the Lincoln household and taking care of the kids. So yeah, that sounded intriguing, and even my grandma agreed, although I think she's just going by the fact that it says Lincoln on it, so I don't think she knows what it's about, but she could say, oh, that's gotta be a good book, because, it's about Lincoln. But I don't think she realizes it's not technically about Lincoln himself, it's actually about someone who works in his household and their perspective, which I think I kind of like that trope, the idea of a character that's not the famous historical figure, but they, like historical fiction where it's from the perspective of someone that's not the famous historical figure, but they are observing the historical figure and watching it unfold before their eyes. I like that concept. I think is really cool. And a very interesting idea. But yeah, so I like that concept. Okay, so so I did get a book while we were visiting my sister. So my original plan, my sister got me these actual vintage, not vintage looking, but actual vintage editions, as in originally published in the 1920s, of Little Women and a collection of the Grimm's fairy tales and Hans Christian Andersen fairy tales. So I was like, I was gonna ask her. I asked her if we could go to that same store so I could see it, because she didn't mention she would like to take me there. It is a thrift store, and but they sell books, so I guess it's like thrift books, only an actual physical place called Unique, and I think that's what she said it was called. But what ended up happening was that's not where we didn't go there. So the plan, what my mom and I did pack our bags. It's because last summer when we were there for Harrison and Daniel's birthdays, because last year they celebrated them together, but this year she decided not to do that because it just got apparently really crazy back at that last year. So she just decided we're going to celebrate them separately. And I think Daniel didn't really want a party. But Harrison did. And also he wanted the Harry Potter theme. Daniel at first wanted the Star Wars theme, and then we found that Harrison wanted the Harry Potter theme. See, I'm doing what the net does. So anyway, we talked about going to the pool again this year because the kids are in tennis camp, and tennis camp takes place at the pool. So especially because it gets so hot during the summer, they are allowed to go swimming for part of their time. And my sister was like, well, we'll meet them there. So we kind of knew, my mom and I kind of were like, okay, we should probably bring bathing suits because we might or might not go to the pool. So bring them just in case. My dad did not do that. So he was not thinking about that, I'm guessing. And we had to pick him up a suit because my sister decided swim trunks because my sister had decided, well, let's do that. Let's go meet them at the pool. So they decided to go to Ross. Well, my mom and I both noticed there was a Barnes & Noble in the shopping center with the Ross, along with the Five Below. We decided to go to Five Below to get some last minute things for the party, and then we tried to find my dad a Harry Potter related t-shirt. And so my mom was like, okay, well, we will go to Ross. You go to Barnes & Noble. And I thought I could get away with getting 2 books at Barnes & Noble, but that did not happen. Because it would be a lot. It would still be quite a bit. Because one of the books I was thinking about getting was $20, and the other book was $11.99. But the problem is that they were both special editions that only Barnes & Noble has of these classics. I did look at the fantasy section, but I was more intrigued by these. I wanted to get these particular classics, see if they were there, because they only have them at Barnes & Noble. So I ended up deciding, it took me some time, but I decided there was a certain one that I wanted above the other. And that was Fyodor Dostoevsky's, still cannot say his name, Demons, which sometimes is also called Possessed. And This is the Viking Classics edition. So all of Dostoevsky's books are in this edition, which I think the simple design is really cool. Now I already have Crime and Punishment. I don't know if I will get this version in Crime and Punishment and send, but I still I have a soft spot for the Barnes and Noble of all classics editions, so I kept it. I am keeping that one for now. I might change my mind later, but I do really like these Viking classic or vintage, not Viking. I don't know where I got Viking from. These vintage classic editions. But anyway, so this is, I'm going to read the back. Inspired by the true story of a political murder that horrified Russia in 1869, Fyodor Dostoevsky conceived Demons as a novel pamphlet in which he would say everything about the plague of the materialist ideology that he saw infecting his native land. What he emerged with in 1872 was at once his darkest novel, Until the Brothers Karamazov. His most ferociously funny, for alongside its relentlessly escalating plot of conspiracy and assassination. Demons, which early translators erroneously titled The Possessed, is a blistering comedy of ideas run amok. And like all of Dostoevsky's novels, it is also a ride of literary voices. His profusion, energy, and variety are rendered wonderfully in this new English version. Like I said, I love these editions. I think I like the look of them, how simple they are. And I do wonder if there's a symbolism to the covers of these editions. I should look that up. I asked my dad because, he knows a little bit about, he's studying Russia, and he knows a lot about Russia, but he doesn't know, enough to tell me if there's any significance to the covers of these books. But anyway, I think, so this is the translation by two people. I wonder if they do all these, translate all Dostoevsky's books. But anyway, I was very excited to get this. The other one I wanted to get was these Barnes and Noble Shakespeare. Like you've seen my copy of King Lear. I wanted to get another one like that one. Like my copy of King Lear, but I did not get it. But speaking of, which by the way, if you like those that, like, if you remember my edition of King Lear and you like that, like you said, it's only at Barnes & Noble. You can get them on Amazon, but so far it seems like Barnes & Noble has the actual store Barnes & Noble. It's cheaper on there at the store than if you buy it off of Amazon. But anyway, let me go ahead and show you what I got today. My dad decided he needs to go to Southern Pines. So he was so he asked if I wanted to go, and I went. I agreed to go, and since I assumed, he'll probably let me go to the country bookshop. So I ended up getting this. See, I love these editions too, these Folger editions. And I kind of want a mixture of the Folger editions and those Barnes & Noble editions. I want to get a mixture of those, because so far those two are my favorites of Shakespeare's plays. So this is A Winter's Tale, which I don't know what this one is about. Does it say? Let me see if it says. The only other story I know about Winter's Tale is okay, so let's see. It doesn't say. I don't know what this one. I need to look up what this one is about. But like I said, my plan is to read Shakespeare plays that people don't talk about as much. So yeah, I ended up buying this one, and it's the only one actually that was at the bookstore of the Folgers edition that was in this size, because the rest of them were mass market, and I didn't want another mass market. Although it would go with my copy of Much Ado About Nothing, if I got a mass market. But anyway, so I saw this and immediately grabbed it when I saw that it was a this size, because I do like these editions, along with, like I said, I like those Shakespeare, those Barnes & Noble ones. They're like a yellowish cover. They're kind of a beige with, I don't know, I would have to show you, but if you saw my King Lear one, then you'll know what I'm talking about. But so there's that one, and this was only $9.99, so that was kind of nice. So I immediately grabbed that. And then we have, so this is one that I already had a copy of it, the Arcturus edition of it, but then I kind of lost, like, I still think those are cute books. Those are cute editions. They're very colorful, but I just kind of lost interest in them. Like, I only have like maybe 1 or 2 left in those editions. So one of them is Vanity Fair. I don't know if I have any other ones in those editions, but I am going to, I've been wanting to get another edition. At first, I kind of wanted the cloth bound, but I decided to take advantage and grab this one, which is $10, which was kind of nice compared to how much these are at the, which these would be at Books A Million, or Barnes & Noble. But, this is David Copperfield. I love David Copperfield, and I'm wanting to reread it. This is kind of a biography, an autobiography, but a fictionalized version, like, of Dickens' life. There's another word for that. Let me see what it says on here. It doesn't, okay, yeah, it doesn't say. There's a word for, like, what they call these books that are like let me see what's in here. No, I'm trying to, I cannot think of the word. But anyway, yeah, so this kind of supposedly a, Dickens examining his, talking, like, it's kind of a, looking at his life, but fictionalizing it a little bit. Oh, and Tolstoy gave it a blurb. It says, the greatest achievement of the greatest of all novelists. Wow, and that's a nice compliment coming from Tolstoy. I bet Dickens really loved that. Unless he's not a Tolstoy fan. But I think he would be if Tolstoy gave him this blurb about his book. But yeah, so I just kind of wanted to get a different version of it. I'm trying to eventually get the perfect version for myself, the perfect collection that is the exact version I want of each of these books, of each of these classics. Okay, so like I said, I already talked about that I just finished Mysteries of Udolpho. So I have been wanting to read, so it is Jane Austen July, so I'm still attempting to read some Jane Austen related stuff. So I figure I'll go ahead, and the next book I will pick up is The Real Jane Austen, A Life in Small Things by Paula Byrne. As my nonfiction, and I want to read Charlotte and Heartstone. Which is a fan, like, Charlotte is about Charlotte Lucas, or formerly Charlotte Lucas, but now Charlotte Collins, and kind of about what happens to her after she marries Mr. Collins and their life together. And then Heartstone is a retelling of Pride and Prejudice, but with the fantasy element of, our characters are dragon riders, and it is a trilogy. So, so we have, but I figure I'll go to the nonfiction book first and start that one. Then I will read Charlotte, and then hopefully I'll get to Heartstone. But yeah, I will have to see. I will have to look and see how much more I have July left, because I might not get to Hearthstone. And I might not even get to Charlotte. I just want to, because the Mysteries of Dolfo took me so long to read. And I was reading other books at the time, so. But yeah, this was a Katie from Books and Things recommendation along with Charlotte. But anyway, so I want to read this. I'm going to start reading that today. And then I also was finally deciding I want to pick this one up again. The Brothers Karamazov. And it was probably partly inspired by getting Demons by Dostoevsky. But even before that, I think I was leaning towards finally picking it up again. I did read, obviously, a little bit because I brought it with me to work and read during my 15-minute break. And started reading this chapter where Ivan is talking to Alyosha. And Ivan is the intellectual. He doesn't believe in God, and Alyosha is a monk. So he's trying to, like, it starts out with him saying that you can't really love one's neighbor. And talking about, how we all love children, and basically talking about love, I guess. And like I said, he doesn't believe in God, and he questions everything about God. And, how you can't understand how, like, someone suffers, because your suffering is your own suffering. No one else can understand it. No one else can feel what you feel. So he's an interesting character. Even if I don't agree with him, he's an interesting character to read about, to kind of understand him. Like, people that are cynical about, like, I try not to get preachy, but it is fascinating to me with people that don't believe and are, just so cynical about it and just can't fathom the idea of God. And maybe some of you feel that way, but I personally don't. I do believe in God. I think I have mentioned that before. But yeah, it is interesting to read about him and him questioning everything about, and just, Alyosha having to, he's very patient, and it's just like, he doesn't get, I don't think he doesn't get mad. So far, he hasn't got mad at his brothers or anything. It's like, how could you not believe? And evidence is right there. Whenever he's not, like, forcing it down Ivan's throat. He's just explaining it the best he can and being very patient with his brother. And he's probably, like I said, the best one out of the brothers, because he's just so, like, such a good person and so patient with his brothers. But yeah, and it's funny, we haven't even got to their father getting murdered yet. We haven't even got to that part yet, I don't think. And I think that's one criticism when, I believe it was Bella from Game of Throne of Pages, not Game of Tomes is Caroline and Emmy's book club name. But Throne of Pages, I remember when she said that part of her criticism why she didn't love this one as much as Crime and Punishment is because it was a lot slower moving. She just didn't connect with the philosophy and all of that. And then it took forever. It took a long time before it got to the exciting part, which was the father getting murdered. For me, that doesn't necessarily bother me as much, but I'm definitely intrigued, and I liked being inside these characters' heads. I'm fascinated by it, essentially. It definitely makes me think more. But anyway, so I'm gonna pick that one up. But I also want to read the real Jane Austen, just to read and try to get in some other Jane Austen related content. I probably won't even get to the movies, but that situation was more because I was trying to finally watch Black Sails all the way through. Because last year I started watching season 1, but then I think I started towards the end of summer, and like maybe in August, so it was just like I couldn't get into it at the time, because I feel like it's a show that you would watch during the summer because it's pirates and takes place on the ocean, on the Caribbean to be more specific. So I'm watching it now, and I will spend And then when I finish it, I'm on the last season, and they're very short seasons. And then after that, I will watch some summer, movies that are very summery, like Now and Then. That's a great summer movie because it's about these girls during the summer, and it's kind of like a '90s equivalent to Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants without the pants, without the jeans. It has a similar feel to that movie / book series. So it's a great one. It's really fun. So yeah, that's why I haven't watched any Jane Austen really adaptations, but I would watch Clueless again and Pride and Prejudice, and there's Emma. There's the only ones I have. I mean, there is Netflix, although we don't have Netflix at the moment. I don't know what my mom's gonna do. I don't know. She might do when we get back. When she comes back, because she did go to see my grandma because she had to take her to some appointments. So I don't know when we're gonna get Netflix back, but I want to get it back so that even if I end up being the one to pay for it. But my sister did say to think about what was worth it about it, and but anyway, so yeah, so there is that. So I'm gonna read a little bit of that and the real Jane Austen. Yeah, so that is what's been going on with my reading. Which I would love to know what's going on with your reading. Have you bought any books recently? And are you, how are you feeling about your reading so far this summer? Would love to know that. Are you participating in Jane Austen in July? Are any of you guys participating in Jane Austen in July? If you, share in the comments below if you are. Like I said, if you're not, please share what you're currently reading this summer. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and thumbs up and click subscribe if you haven't already and you enjoyed this video. And I hope you're enjoying your reading currently, and I will talk to y'all later. All right, bye.